Hello, everybody. Today I like to talk about the Babylonian language confusion and the disentanglement of it. So I tried to do this because I have seen very funny things between the languages English, German, and Hungarian. And it is very confusing, but it is funny. So I like to talk about this. So the words east and west, in Hungarian it's kelet and nyugat, and this means the kelet means to rise up when the sun rises, yes. So it's very logical. So and nyugat is go down when the sun goes down. So it's very logical. In the east, the sun rises, and in the west, it goes down. Okay, so we go further. So in German, it means east means Ost and west means west. But this word, this German word, is similar, exactly identical to the Hungarian word Ost. And this means to share or cut into pieces or split up. So this means to split up. And the other word west, this means to lose. So is it possible that they meant something which happened to a landmass? So the east was split up and the west was lost or something. Maybe there was a big some big war, or that I don't know. So it looks like this. So I don't know if this is coincidence or it has to mean something, or it's just the Babylonian language confusion. So now I tried to explain this confusion, and when we go further, there were the Celtic culture, yes? In Hungarian it's called Kelta. This would actually mean ta means from somewhere away. So in Sumerian means ta, away from something. So it would mean away from kel. And what is kel? It just means in Hungarian the rise. So just in Hungarian has this a meaning, and it means from east. So maybe the Celtic people came from east and went to west. So is it possible? I don't know. But there's another connection with this word Kel. In German, Kälte means cold. So when is it cold? In the morning. When sunrise is, then it is cold, yes. And then later on the day it will be warmer because of the sun, because the sun warms the earth. So this is very confusing, everything. And it goes further. So I'll show you something more. So these are words. This is an English word, courtyard, yes. So court, it would mean something like a circle, could be, yes. So there was a restaurant, and in a shopping center, it was called the food court, because round and round there were restaurants, and you could go round and round, and there were restaurants. So it was called the food court, yes. So now the interesting thing is in Hungarian, it sounds like courtyard, it sounds like courtyard. And this would mean he went around. So this means kör means circle, and yard means he went. So it's interesting. So when you go around, then you have the courtyard. And interesting also is the word meant in Hungarian means he went. So it's almost the same word, just one letter rather, went, meant. But it's interesting you say go, but in the past tense you say went. So why do you say go and then in past tense do you say went? So in Hungarian you see went, sorry, meant. So interesting is also kör means circle. Körke would mean a little circle. So actually the word church comes from this circle, the kör. It's kör, Kirch or Kirk. So in German it's Kirche. It comes probably from Körke, which means little circle. So little circle is Kirche and church, maybe. So it could be, probably. So when we go further to the next word, it's also interesting, the sailboat. If you go by sailboat, you use the power of the wind, yes? So sailing is to go with the wind, but you don't say wind boat, you say sailboat. And interesting is the word for wind in Hungarian, it's sail. Yes, you write it this way. Sail is wind. So how can this be again? Again, it's like a Babylonian language confusion. So there was maybe just one language and looks like it was like Hungarian. And then came the confusion and different languages came out of this, but we don't know that they were one language once, but the Bible says it, and it looks like that it is real, yes, so that this really happened. So when we go further to the next word, fairy tale, it's interesting. It contains two words, fairy and tale. So maybe the tale comes from tell. So if you tell something, you tell a fairy tale. Yes. And it is interesting, when do we tell stories? Probably when it is winter, it's cold outside, so we sit inside the house and we are just telling stories. And the interesting thing is the word for winter in Hungarian is tél. So is there a connection? Is it possible that this winter, tél, comes from here? So it in English it just stayed as telling, as tale. Is it possible? And the word fairy, it's the elf, yes, it's the flying creature. And in German, it is Fähre, the boat which takes you somewhere. And in English, it's ferry. So is there a connection between ferry and the boat ferry? Because the ferry takes you somewhere, it flies around, yes? And the ferry doesn't fly, but it takes you by boat somewhere. So maybe there's a connection. It means that is something that takes you somewhere, so it can transport you, yes, from one point to another. So now I come to the other topic. It is the transport. So very interesting, the words for transport in three languages, in English, German, and Hungarian. So in English, you say shipment. So in English, you go over water, yes? So the transport is over water, it's a shipment. So And in German, you say Lieferung. This is the word for shipment in German, but it comes from lief, means he ran, so it comes from running. So it comes from laufen, means run. Yes, so this is overland, so you can run just overland. So, and now here comes the Hungarian word. It's szállítás, and this is from flying, because száll, as I mentioned in the other video, means fly. So this is over space, it's over air. So why do the Hungarians transport over air, over space? So, and the oldest language in whole Europe is the Hungarian. There are linguists who said Hungarian is much more older than the other languages. So the first transportation was over space, because the Anunnaki had these spaceships, and they transported everything over air. It was let flying. It was over space, over air. And it looks like then came the flood, so there was everywhere water. So every transportation then was over water, because the Anunnaki went away, left us alone, and there was nothing, just water, and then some kinds of some mountains. Then that there were some higher mountains, like islands, they were in the water. So every transportation seemed to be over water. So, and then later on, when the water disappeared, there was more land, so they could go over land. So the transportation was by running or going, so it was over land. And the German says Lieferung. So is it possible that the words contain actually the history of mankind, the development of these things that happened? Yes. Is it possible? So thank you for watching, like and share. And next time I will tell you more about these confusion things, these funny things. And thank you for watching.